your daughter's article, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, really good. She's talented.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm glad she's learning the fundamentals and not just because she's interested in broadcast journalism, radio, TV and stuff. But I'm glad I taught her the fundamentals, which is the writing part.
Tell her I need to read more of it.
Yeah. She's working on something now that should be interesting. I don't want to spoil it though.
After the last article.
Yeah.
Oh, good for her.
She's working on another one, yeah. It's a great opportunity.
You have a chance to do the thing you love the most and have it seen by a broad possible audience.
I know. It's great if you're going to do that.
Excuse me, is this open to the public? Yes.
Yes, it is.
Oh, well, I won't take up your seats. Never mind. Oh, no, you.
Oh, there are seats if you want to get around.
Okay, I
Are
guess
you
I can
looking for
read
the
the
short
show.
meeting?
No, I'm looking for the board meeting, social services.
Yeah, that's what, sorry.
That's-
Okay,
Oh, sorry.
I know, I should have, it's that second
Acronym.
half, yeah,
No,
I'll help you in a second.
And we are live, correct?
Yes, we are.
Well then, welcome to the July 24th, 2025 Social Service Human Relations Board meeting, otherwise known as SHRUB. This meeting is being recorded. The chat function has been turned off. If members of the public would like to comment on an item, please digitally raise your hand or email Grecia Manayon, GMANNAHAYON@alamedaca.gov. Comments submitted during the meeting before the conclusion of the public comment section will be read into the record. Her email address is also on the meeting's agenda. If you are calling in by phone, please email Ms. Manayon. As we cannot see you, raise your hand. You can also dial *9 to raise your hand and we will call on you. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes. The public has 2 opportunities for public comments. First, under agenda item 2, public comments. Comments from the audience may concern matters either on or not on the agenda, but must deal with matters subject to the jurisdiction of the Social Service Human Relations Board. Second, under each agenda item, there will be an opportunity for public comment on that specific item. Each item follows a format similar to City Council meeting. First, after a presentation, we will ask if there are any clarifying questions from SHRUB members for staff. Second, we will ask if there are any public comments on this agenda item. And finally, after public comment, we will open the item up to board discussion and vote if recommended. We are calling the meeting now to order at 7:02 p.m. And we will be doing roll call. Bernie Wolf.
Here.
Diane Yamashiro Omi.
Here.
Gerald Bryant.
Here.
I'm gonna do it out of order. Samantha Green.
Here.
Scott Means here. And Michelle Buckholz.
Here.
All present, accounted for, and on time. Okay. I'm still reading your name. All right. Oh, we also have with us from Housing and Human Services Manager Simone Falls, Grecia Manayon, Program Manager, and Ali Wong, HHS Summer Intern. And welcome everyone here. So we will go right into non-agenda public comments. The city welcomes speakers providing public comment, but please be advised this is a limited public forum. Comments from the audience may concern matters either on or not on the agenda, but must deal with matters subject to the jurisdiction of the Social Service and Human Relations Board. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Comments concerning matters on this evening's agenda will be heard when that item is called. If speakers fail to follow these rules, they will be warned, and if they continue to disregard the rules, their opportunity to speak will end. Do we have anyone either or no speakers? Okay.
We do not have any public comment, I don't see any hands raised in the participants.
Okay, thank you guys.
Oh, we have a public comment by Carol Maynard, I'm going to, go ahead.
Good evening, members of the Social Service Human Relations Board. My name is Carol Mahar, and I serve as the Development Director at Spectrum Community Services, a nonprofit that has proudly been serving Alameda County for over 50 years. Earlier this month, we submitted a letter of support to the City of Alameda and the Public Utilities Board, urging them to join us in advocating for Measure W funds to be allocated to utility relief and weatherization services for low-income residents. As you know, these funds are currently under consideration by the Alameda County Board of Supervisors, and the final allocations are still being shaped. At Spectrum, we see the direct impact these services have on our community. Each year, our team helps thousands of seniors, families, and individuals with low income stay safely housed by providing utility bill assistance and critical weatherization upgrades that make their homes more energy efficient and reduce their monthly costs. These aren't just energy services, they are homelessness prevention tools and lifelines for residents living on the edge. In the city of Alameda, we've supported numerous households, ensuring that older adults, people with disabilities, and working families are not forced to choose between heating their homes and paying for food or medication. I shared the other night at the Board of Supervisors meeting that the average household we serve has an income of a staggering $16,000 a year. So without utility assistance, they face possible choices of eviction and even homelessness. Federal funding for the programs are shrinking, and without local support through Measure W, we may not be able to meet the growing need. And that's why we're urging the city of Alameda to stand with us through a letter of support, a resolution, or any other form of advocacy that can help us amplify the call to protect these services. We believe your city's voice carries weight, and your leadership can help ensure that these essential services like utility assistance and weatherization remain available to the residents who need them the most. Thank you so much for your time and for your commitment to social equity and housing stability in the city of Alameda and the county of Alameda as well. Happy to answer any questions or provide additional information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now, we'll move to the review and approval of minutes for May 22nd and June 26th. So were any members of this board not at one of those two meetings? I don't remember.
It was not one of those meetings.
Okay. Which one?
June.
Okay, June, okay. So we have to do two separate votes then, right? So we're gonna do the one for May 1st. If someone wants to put a motion forward,
I'll put the motion
My
forward.
second.
we have a first and a second, and we don't need to have a roll call vote. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Okay, and then the second one we're looking at is the June 26th.
I'll put forward another motion since I was here.
All right. Okay, we have a first, we have a second. Again, just those present, vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
No, abstain.
No abstain, and, and I say aye too, sorry, yeah, all right. So we're done. So item number 4A is presentation of the 2025 Housing and Human Services Internship. Presenting the 2025 Housing and Human Services Internship is intern Ali Wong.
Hi, I'm Ali Wong. I'm a summer intern for Housing and Human Services. And here's my presentation. Do I try again? Okay, so this is my introduction. So I'm a rising senior at Alameda High School, and this summer I'm enrolled for the internship of City of Alameda's Housing and Human Services Division. And I'm really excited to get to work with Cheryl and that I can learn about how this system and this division works to prevent and reduce homelessness. I've gained valuable experience in this internship learning about how this division helps the community every day and how services and resources are provided for those in need. I'm really happy to have witnessed how this division improves our community and social equity and how they ensure that everyone has access to affordable housing and basic essentials. So about housing and human services. So I know that they aim to preserve and rehabilitate, construct affordable housing in the city of Alameda. So they have the Village of Love and Dignity Village and the Day Center. And I know that we have something called the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, which develops viable urban communities by providing decent housing and suitable living environments. Also, they expand economic opportunities for people of low income. And I know that are homeless or at risk of homelessness. And yeah, they have a lot of homeless shelters, like, again, the Village of Love, the Dignity Village, and Day Center, homeless shelter. And I know that we support Alameda residents who are in need of basic resources and services. Like, for example, we have Diamond Connect, which is a meal program for people to be able to eat what they need every day. And I know that we have the mobile shower and laundry services for those who need to keep their hygiene. And I know that we collaborate with community social service providers to strive to preserve safety for low-income residents. And for example, we collaborate with Alameda Family Services, Building Futures with Women and Children, Alameda Point Collaborative, and Operation Dignity. My summer internship projects. So for my first one, I learned a lot about local government, working at housing and human services, and a lot about social services. Like, I had a lot of research time and a lot of admin time for local government websites and stuff. And I toured all these shelters in Alameda, and I really liked learning about the details of how things work. And I had to have a lot of follow-up emails, and I learned about how their government really works. And number two, for Shrub and the Road Home Committee, I helped with Shrub setups for the meeting prep. Like, for example, I set up I attended all the meetings, and I helped set up today and last month, in June for our meeting last month. And I researched the road home and the strategic plan, and researched like the shrub purposes, the duties, and procedures and stuff like that. And I made actually a shrub flyer for age-friendly cities. It's like a listening session, which is where people of any age can come into the Mass Experience Center and listen about how age-friendly cities works and how we help the community. And for CARES, I attended the CARES meeting last time, and to help with CARES, I helped set up an hour before, and I attended the meeting, and I called the whole list of CARES members to check in for their attendance and to check if they're the main point of contact. My takeaways. So for I have a better understanding of local government, and I learned about the procedures of board meetings like this one. And I learned that the local government is really transparent to the public, so everything has to be approved really early on. And I also had a lot of projects, presentations, and a lot of tasks to do that I really gained valuable experience. And for the next one, I had more exposure to community social service collaborations. So of course I toured the Village of Love, Dignity Village, Day Center, and I just learned about specific things that we need to do to help people of low income. And I also met and called the CARES members, so I got to meet people from different operations. And I had a deeper understanding and empathy for low income families when I learned about specific people. Like, I shared meeting with the case manager, she explained a certain situation to a woman that was camping out at Washington Park, and the situation, all the trauma that she had, and the reason why she ended up there in her life. And I just learned so many specific things that we need to do, and so many procedures we need to do to get someone into a day shelter or Dignity Village and things, so they can be able to live without stress of home or food or hygiene or anything like that. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you for that. We can now open the floor for discussion and comments by board members.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, ask questions, yes, clarifying questions.
Question. Do you think you would go into government work?
Honestly, yeah, so I entered this internship, like, really curious about the local government, and I just wanted to try it out, and now that I've worked for a couple of weeks, I would see myself being in this kind of situation with a local government job. But it was, like, very nice to learn about my community, try to help my community, and just, like, work with and collaborate with different people in my, division.
Thank you. That's my question.
You speak really well, and I've enjoyed our connections. I can see that you're really bright and really sincere, and I'm looking forward to hearing about you over the year and goes on afterwards, because it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, thank you.
Have you chosen a college yet?
No, I'm going into my senior year, so I'm
Oh.
in the fall, I'm gonna sign up for, try to.
What are your meetings?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I definitely wanna stay in California, cause where I live in Oslo, it's more affordable to stay in the state. And, I probably could go to UC, somewhere in Southern California.
Actually, just mentioning, working in government, I worked over 20 years in government, and where I got my degree was the University of San Francisco. They have a really excellent department of public administration.
My sister goes there.
Oh, okay. Great, Lone Mountain campus is beautiful. I don't know if you've been to that campus.
I actually, in my freshman year, I toured it, it's really great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Go Dons.
So I have a question, if that's okay. How was your experience as a younger person inside the city? Like, does it feel like it's welcoming and people are interested in
It was
them?
very welcoming, and I noticed that maybe because I'm still a kid, like everyone was extra nice, like buying me lunch and stuff like that. It was like at first it was a little intimidating because I'm around a bunch of adults and a lot of people who were more experienced than me, and even like sharing office with people who were older than me. And it was like at first it was scary, but like after like the first day, I realized it was like much more welcoming than I thought, and I got really comfortable with the people I was working with, and everyone was just so welcoming. I really liked my experience in this internship.
I have a question. So, from all the experience that you've had, is there anything in particular that you have a keen interest in working on? And kind of what's the change that you feel like needs to happen?
I'm not very sure, but I just know that I really like helping community, like maybe front like work like community outreach, helping face to face with people who are in need of like services like that, social services. I kind of like, I'm not sure, but I feel like I fit well with like all parts of it, but I really am interested in helping people up front, like being a case manager or like just helping people and just learning about their personal experience so I can help them later in their life, so they don't have to struggle with finance or housing or whatever.
One of our goals is also to engage more young people and high school students in some of our mission. Do you have any suggestions or ideas of how we can engage more high school students? One, and then the second question was, you're only in person, but do you feel like among your peers, what is the general impression of vulnerable and like maybe just unhoused individuals? Do you think there's a lot of thought or care about that? Or awareness, I should
To
say.
answer your first question, this might be very Gen Z, but like any kind of social media engagement really helps because it's easy access, obviously, and like any sort of like posters that are online or any pop-ups or like advertisement would be really helpful because
On TikTok or on where?
TikTok, yeah, anything, but like, cause like you don't really, so with people in LA, you don't really go looking for flyers or posters on the wall, it just pops up on your phone when you're scrolling, right? So any kind of engaging thing on social media would be really helpful, cause also in social media, it can be really like entertaining and engaging, and like sometimes like I learn things on TikTok, like like something an event happening on TikTok or not just TikTok but Instagram or anything. I just learn about events or opportunities or community service opportunities, and it really actually does help me. And people also can just send it easy to like other people they want to send it to. So it's just really direct and
And would you say TikTok and Instagram are the main?
Yeah, I would say so. Facebook works too, but I noticed like a lot of young people don't really go on Facebook, mostly Instagram or something. And yeah, it's just like for social media, it's just I find it really efficient to find information. Obviously not for research because sometimes it's not reliable, but like any sort of like advertising. Yeah, getting the word out and spreading the word to people you know is really, really efficient. And it's as like, easy as a click of a button to get some sort of like community outreach.
My 19-year-old daughter says the same thing, she said.
Yeah.
That's a great suggestion.
So, completely agree with that, yeah.
And what you say?
More, I mean, I think there's part of us that are really engaged and focused on people who are unhoused. How is that feel like a predominant issue, or is there talk or for, I'm trying to figure out what the question is it on the radar as a social issue? I think our main of,
Homelessness or?
homelessness, domestic violence, and I think, racism, hate crimes. I think those are our three main sort of focuses here.
Or safety could be another way of putting
Yeah.
it, yeah.
So what did you say again?
I guess it's like, does this feel like local in your community? Is this something that like people are talking about?
Yeah, I feel like even in high school, people always are pretty self-aware, especially with the rise of social media and I just realized I think a lot of people are very socially aware, and with specifically homelessness, I think in Alameda, I would say so because even in my school, I attend a really popular club called the Humans Helping Community, and it's basically about providing for the homeless and like being educated on the topic. And when I attended that honestly that helped me get this interested too because I learned about it and also I had more of a passion to like learn about it more and extend that information.
And Auckland, maybe we find out the teacher who's sponsoring that club and we can talk to your club?
Yeah, sure. For my club, my friend is an officer. I can let her know too. And at first, like it started like it's pretty new too, but it's always like a full class. But when I first attended, like I was a little like skeptical. I was like, okay, I don't know if this is gonna be like one of those like clubs that are actually engaged or just a club to say it's a club, you know what I mean? But when I attend the meetings every Monday at lunch, it's very engaging and also like it brought like a lot of people to the club too because everyone knows each other. We bring new people in, and then next year I'm not an officer of the club, but I am part of the club. Next year we're thinking about like doing more like we did this donation thing for a game and we did like a big sale too, and all of our earnings we sent it to the Religion Club.
What was the club called?
Humans Helping Humanity.
I think the other two issues were domestic violence and then racism.
Okay. Oh, about the Humans Helping Humanity on Instagram, it's called H3C. H3C. Like 3 H's. And what did you say?
Oh, so the other issues were domestic violence and racism.
Domestic violence. I feel like on social media, it's a lot of people are socially aware for the Gen Z. I don't really know about like upfront because you don't really see that in the public, but it's definitely an issue that people are aware of now. Also with like celebrity things, celebrity scandals, like you hear about it, we know about it, and I don't know if it's for everyone's social media. I see stuff about it, and I see like stories or like news, local news about it. So like I think it's people are aware of it, but I don't really know how people are helping right now because there's not much you can do when it's behind closed doors, you know. But I think what we need to do is like just be more aware of it and keep a close eye on it to like to spot it, you know. And he says
Racism.
Oh, racism, yeah. People are really socially aware, and I feel like with racism, like I feel like it's hard to catch too. Sometimes it's like fresh off. But I don't know if you probably heard about like the situation at my high school, Alameda High School, with the proposal thing. I remember when that first happened, like I heard about it, but I didn't know if it was true, and then I heard news about it, and then when that first happened, like in my, there's something we call smart periods, it's like a food work period, right? And when that happened, all the teachers were required principal talking about the issue and telling us like what happened and like what we can do now to prevent that. And basically, like, she basically stated like how like it's against the rules and like they're gonna be more careful with like catching it, you know, because the incident that happened, like I remember a lot of people were talking about it on social media, but I didn't know it was gonna be as big as it was. And now it's actually a good thing that was really big because now people are more aware of it. It was even on the local news, and even like I have a cousin that lives in Castro Valley, she even heard about it too, which is crazy. So people were definitely aware of it, but I don't know if everyone, and I don't know if everyone in like my school is like taking it seriously though. It's like I don't have a personal experience of seeing it. I don't know. I try to keep my friends like a good group of friends. You know, not racist obviously, but I just know that everyone is aware of it on social media too. On social media, also people are definitely way more careful because your digital footprint. But I guess for that situation about that Ponkozo thing, like I guess she thought that girl thought it wasn't gonna get out, but obviously social media spreads as easy as a click of a button. It's easy to spread something. So people are definitely aware, but I don't know if everyone is taking it seriously though. So that's a problem we need to fix.
Great, thank you. Are there any comments or questions from the audience about this specific item? Oh, oh yes, it says report if there are any speakers or comments. I don't know if this one needed to have speakers or comments. Oh, okay. It's 4A, right? Yeah, it just says here, is there, are there any speakers or comments? But I don't know if there's any people here for this. I would guess not. I guess it's for the next item, but we'll see. So, do you have any for this item?
So she doesn't have it for the item specific. She wanted to have general public comment.
Thank you. While they're doing that, I have a comment. I just am happy that you have the opportunity to work with us and that it was enriching for you. It's good to hear. And it was interesting that you said, I never thought about the age thing, that it was intimidating to be in the room with older people. Especially for me, because in my opinion, it's a room full of young people. So that's enlightening for me to, I never even would have thought about that, so something else.
Just to think, I'm like, she's not a kid. Like, when you said you were a kid, you were like, you seem so grown up.
She can come out on the side if she wants. Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of our first jobs are with a bunch of other teenagers, so.
The age difference though, it does make a difference when it comes to like outreach. Like I guess senior citizens wouldn't be on social media as much or know much about it, but no offense.
Well said, right?
But there is like a difference in how you're supposed to go with Gen Z, Gen X, Millennial, whatever, but it's just like completely different. So just to target a follower or anything like that, or just to get the word out, you gotta target specific, have a specific strategy to target a certain age group, you know?
So we do have public comment for this item, Ms. Karen Kirschbaum. Karen Kirschbaum.
Yeah, and you have 3 minutes, thank you.
Okay. I'm a little nervous, so excuse me. And I appreciate all of you in this commission. I wish I would have known about it 3 years ago. Because unfortunately, you're being lied to. Has anybody read the contracts? The providers have. They're all being breached, every single one of them. Julie Harrison is not who you think he is. I'm a 30-year teacher. I taught at 3 schools here in Alameda. And the mayor is trying to cover it up. The chief of police, the chief of fire, and the city manager. and they have dragged me through hell for all these years. Everything he says is a lie. Outreach, well, today they parked in a parking lot and stayed there all day, not doing anything. Saturday and Sunday, nothing. Has anybody noticed that there haven't been any reviews until recently? There was one, and that's only because I requested it through records, because I knew they didn't have any. He's supposed to submit a financial report every month on the 7th. There's not one. Not one. I became homeless because I was taking a year off of teaching after 30 years. It was during COVID. And I thought, you know what, this TikTok shows me this van life thing. I want to go do that for a year and travel with my 2 new kittens. I made it to one state, Missouri, where I became a victim of a horrible crime that took everything away from me, committed by law enforcement. On my way home, when I finally was able to get home, I said out loud to myself, I cannot wait to get home because I know my city will take care of me. Because I remember the 14 homeless initiatives I voted yes on. Little did I know that I didn't get help from my own city, that I would be dragged through hell. I have been attacked over and over and over again. Police haven't done anything. I attempted murder, dousing gasoline, almost caught on fire with a match. I mean, they've done nothing. Over 20 crimes have been committed against me. As soon as they found out, I knew. And all I did was go to them to tell them, I've been sitting here for almost a year and I have nothing. I don't even know how I lived.
Thank you for your comments. I'm sorry, the 3 minutes has expired, so. Thank you for coming.
That's all I'm gonna say.
All right.
I wish I would have known about this a lot sooner.
Thank you. Thank you.
Joe Harrison just got off the streets himself. You should see the way he's living now. There's not a thing that he says that is true.
Thank you.
And the mayor is gonna go to jail, and same with that chief, who calls himself a chief. You know what really is happening is they're messing with people's mental health. Mental health.
We heard
People
you
have
talk,
died.
but would you
People have
please
died.
honor this process?
And they blame it on drugs,
Thank you
but
very
no,
much.
it's.
Have a good evening. Have a good evening.
Exactly.
All
That's
right.
what everybody
Thank
says.
you.
I'm a crazy girl with a blue band. Yep, and I'm gonna be here until this gets fixed. And I don't care how many people go down, because this whole entire city is full of ignorance.
Thank you everyone for your patience.
I think that you
I was gonna close the door.
do you want me to go try to de-escalate? Okay, then we can't.
All right. We're going to move forward.
Criminalizing survival? No toes? Guess what they do? They tow everyone. They took my life away. They killed my cat. They took my teaching, 30 years of teaching.
Yes.
I can't wait.
I was gonna just tell her to call the APD. Get out of here. Because I just want, I don't necessarily want her, I don't want her cheated, but I don't want her to be cheated either, so. Thank you everyone for your patience. Yeah, let's. Short break. Yeah, let's take a short break. Let's take a 5-minute
Why don't we
break, okay?
pause?
Yeah.
So we will be back in, let's just say how long do you want to do, Scott?
Well, let's like 3 minutes, yeah.
recording, and we are going to resume the meeting after our short recess.
All right, thank you.
Where's Gerald?
He's just going to the restroom.
Oh, we started.
Restroom. He's just going back.
Okay. So, okay, I was supposed to ask though, before we close out item 4A, are there any additional comments or questions from the board about this item? Item 4A, the presentation.
Oh,
I- And actually, that was just another instance to be stalling for time. Okay, so, I figured we were done. Okay, so item 4B is going to be a presentation on Alameans Against Hate Committee resolution. And Housing and Human Services staff will be providing an update on the AUAH resolution and leading a discussion on next steps.
Great, so, I do have my notes. Alright, so I'm gonna give you all an update on where the committee is and the next steps and the feedback. So some background on the resolution, this has been in the works for a long time, about 2 years. It's been a very thoughtful process. The committee has engaged with community members, faith leaders, with the school district, with parent leaders. They've engaged with the city manager's office, they've engaged with you all seeking feedback. It's been a very collaborative and thoughtful effort. They've taken data from the community needs assessment to determine how they would like this to be structured. We sent this to you all, it's still in draft form to gather some feedback, and I thought it would be the most productive for me to provide some of the high-level feedback and then what recommendations we have as staff. So I'm going to make the recommendations, I'll share the next steps with you all. Actually, I'll do the next steps now, so once I make the recommendations, we can move to clarifying questions. So the next steps that will happen in terms of this resolution is that committee members Gerald and Diane will be requesting feedback from city council and the mayor. And they will be meeting with them potentially one-to-one to get feedback. And so that will be the next step of the process before it gets to council. So starting from the top, we had some feedback that this highlighted section, I think because this has been worked on for so long that when it was first created, COVID felt very relevant. I do think my staff recommendation would be probably to remove this section. It feels a little bit dated and I noticed it was distracting to some folks when they were reading the resolution. Because the first 2 items cite a specific resolution and city council item, and then the next ones are more descriptive and kind of a departure from that. The next item that received a lot of feedback was number 3. So this primarily had to do with the concern for staff capacity. There were questions about, because the city has done work and created a plan around equity already, but it's very much internal facing. So for example, every staff member is required to attend an in-person 4-hour DEIB training. And it is contracted with an outside consultant, so city manager's office did remind us about that, and there has been some work for internal facing work. And so the recommendation staff has here is to make this more focused in terms of outward facing work. So the language could resemble something like, and to put it, I know there was a conversation around like how much it would be put on committee members, how much would staff be involved. So our recommendation would be for staff to lead the development of an action plan that incorporates feedback from the city departments and different boards with direction and support from Shrub. So the intention of this action plan would be to ensure that there is an equity lens over how we provide services to the public. So whereas we had a plan that's more internal facing, this one would be more external facing. The next item that there was feedback on quite a bit, and I found that this one in general just had so many different interpretations because we use somewhat what I would call kind of like buzzwords that are important, but maybe people have different interpretations of it. Like for example, restorative justice means I learned through this feedback process different things to different people. But what I remember in our conversations was that the intention of number 5 is is really to focus on improving how we deliver services to those with the highest disparities based on data from the community needs assessment. And so that would be my recommendation and staff recommendation for how we would adjust that. So that concludes my report, and slash
Can you,
presentation.
can you say that last thing again? I don't think like you said, not restorative, but you said can you just repeat that last line? I didn't fully understand
Yeah,
that.
so these are just some notes I have, I don't have like the specifics.
Oh, okay.
But what I would suggest here is that we just explicitly name that what we're looking to do is improve how we deliver services to those with the highest disparities
Gotcha.
per the community needs assessment.
Thank you.
I like you using some plural there, because that was like one of the points I had too, because we don't want to be an Olympics where only one, if there could be multiple groups of people that have interlacing issues. And I think a great example of that is Oakland Unified School District high school kids. It's Black and Latino males, right? And one may be a little bit higher than the other, but both of those groups within that gender need assistance. And I just want to use the opportunity to jump in with our comments here, just to say something about the framework of this, and I'm just gonna connect a few dots here because we're all working on different things. I sort of made a list as we were sitting here before the meeting, listing sort of there's like the big 5 things we deal with in human services, and putting them together is really important. And top of my list was economic disparities, and we know we have homelessness and it's attached to money, right? And then we have age, which is, there's ageism and people get more frail, they have more needs, they get older. There's disability, which people have physical disabilities they have no control over. But then the next 2 are completely social constructs that are harder really to get your hands around because they're not attached to something physical, and that's race and gender. And it is really important for us to look at those 2 subjects separately and equally to these other ones in order to get a complete picture of where need is. And so I just want you to know, I know I'm really like headlong into the age-friendly part of things, but this is actually so important because it doesn't work unless it's all connected together, all these knowledge sets. So thank you for working on that. So that's more of a statement than a question, I'm sorry, but I just I've been thinking about this a lot over the last week and wanted to put that framework on it.
I think the only one you're missing in that we're focused on, and I think the city is really focused, is sexual orientation too.
Well, I was actually just about to give an update.
I said gender.
I won't know if it was, I would put them separate, right?
They are separate.
Yeah.
That's a different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my update on that specifically is that, work around and uplifting and making sure that our LGBTQ community feels safe is also a priority for council.
Yeah.
And they are also working on an action plan in parallel to this one.
Okay.
So it's going through the same process as this one that the committee is leading.
And I like
Just so
focus
I
on delivering
sex and gender,
services.
the things that are different.
Yeah.
That works
Yeah.
for me.
I was with sexual orientation, like LGBT. Can I just like a clarifying question? This what happens? Like we present it to council, they vote, and then what happens?
Then what happens is I get to work on an action plan.
Okay, and then
So, the.
Yeah, this I don't know what
So we're
drafts.
still going through the process of like getting this in front of them, right? And
Yeah.
having them back it and approve it. And then after that, we would move to more of the action items of surveying the different departments and continuing, it'll also be part of our community needs assessment.
gotcha,
So the results of that will also help inform the next steps for what the committee is doing.
gotcha.
And then they also have, I'll let you all speak to the other events you will have going on, but that might be great.
I'm sorry, I need to say this out loud so it's on the record. When we had this disagreement just now about gender and orientation, I look at it as sex and gender. So sexual orientation is in gender and sex. I do see it as 2 different things. I think we're using different terminology to say the same thing rather than actually disagreeing. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I guess, what we've been working on for the past many years is declaring Alameda hate-free city, participating in the national hate-free, events, and then doing, we may not do a poetry slam, we may do something else. We would love your recommendations on what would bring young people
I have
to
your
talk
phone
about,
number.
talk about hate or talk about racism. And then we did the public library series that we were hoping to do, bring in external speakers to talk about our different communities and provide some historical context, for folks in Alameda. And I think that
Work with the ACCYF and the youth programs as well.
that's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's a good start.
And I have to say that since I saw this last a year ago, I think it's very evolved in a really positive way. So I really congratulate both of you for the thought you put into it and the fact that you've really listened. That speaks really highly of both of you.
We tried.
I have one suggestion I wanted to make, since it wasn't touched on specifically, is I would try to scrub any acronyms or technical speak out of as much as possible. And there's this one case that I saw in here, use the term BIPOC. And I think it should be, I mean, you don't need to literally write out the acronym, it could be another way of saying it, but I think it should be really explicit to someone who knows the common tongue, that they can be, go, oh, I get what they're talking about.
And besides, I unfortunately, the Indians of Alameda disappeared 200 years ago when they were sent to Mission San Jose when the Spanish were ruling. So I don't really think there are any remnants here, at least.
Interestingly enough, I had a conversation with a young man who was at a couple of different meetings who was part of the Indigenous Peoples Program here in Alameda. And so there is a presence, there are people who are actually
That's really
They don't get any
advocates.
attention, they don't get any
No.
resources, they're just.
Because I went to the gathering of Ohlone peoples in Coyote Hills, and there was nobody. And I actually asked about what happened in Alameda. Nobody had any idea if there were anybody left over.
Yeah, that
Nobody
history
left
is
here.
lost, we need to, find it again.
Yeah, so there was quite a history
But
there.
people do, descendants still live in Alameda.
All right.
I've met, a few.
I met definitely from Alameda.
Is there anything we can do in the resolution that you think could aid its passage as it currently, is there anything that we need to do or lobby to encourage its passage, or anything we could help?
Well, this is helpful, we'll be voting on it next meeting.
Okay.
So,
And then, at the city council meeting, it'd be great to share presence
Yeah, for sure.
That would be helpful.
or letters.
yes.
Lots of communications to the people on the board, on the council side.
Can we say that?
I'm sorry?
Can we say that? To encourage people to communicate?
Anyone that's a resident of Alameda is welcome to make a public comment.
Okay.
And then the only other thing was wondering in the action plan, is there any kind of thought of how do we measure our success or see how we did? I know that's the only really challenge for these larger concepts, that they're not measurable. Is there anything you think we could do to think about how we could have some sort of accountability
Yes.
in that draft?
I think that internal work, there'll be evidence.
I do think that, I keep leaning on this, but I think the community needs assessment is just a really excellent place, because that's where we do surveys, we track members, and it's gonna be a long term, we'll have a needs assessment this year, we'll compare it for the following next one, and that will tell us how successful we are.
And then maybe in the action items that we should include, and I know I wasn't a part of the needs assessment, but maybe we add explicit questions about perceptions of hate, safety. Maybe we need to add some explicit questions on these metrics so we could track them, and then make sure we have some way of saying of do you feel safe? Do you feel it?
I think
Feelings of belonging.
Belonging, that's the word I'm looking for.
Awesome.
That was one of my questions about at school. What's the status of bullying there?
The status of what?
Bullying in high school.
I feel like it's not the bullying, I feel like it's not bullying how it's in the movies, but usually it's usually brushed off or passive, but there's not really a big bullying issue. If there's any sort of issue, we consider it over every specific people it's usually like there's a central office to like handle something like principal or anything. But on the issue of bullying, I feel like it's not too much, in my experience, in my observations of going every day, I don't really see it that much though.
I think there's also in the, we put it in the community needs assessment, but there's additional stuff that comes through the surveys from the schools where it has information on students' perception of discrimination, bullying, and safety. Feeling safe, and then feeling that they have trusted
Yeah,
adults.
that was a great question, yeah.
So those are all in there, and we can make sure that we continue to track those, because I think that would be a good, because there's actually like there's a longer section, so it might be a good place to review what's included in that community needs assessment.
Maybe include, students in development projects, yeah.
Yeah, if there's additional.
So we met with a lot of parents, who were parents of color, and basically they have had horrific experiences, within the public school system. So, it was validating in some ways to hear what they went through, even though it was horrible. So, we felt like, this is needed. It's something that we can't just sweep under the rug. We should, come out and be bold and highlight it as an issue.
So when you say people of color, what groups are you really talking about?
So the school district had convened, groups of parents based on their ethnicity. So there was an African American parent group, there was an Asian American parent group, there was, what else? Hispanic, right, yeah. And there were representatives from each of those groups that we spoke to about what experiences they've had, or their children have had in the school district. But they've also had like passive aggressive behavior at the parent level as well. So there was an incident also at Lincoln Middle School, and there was some organizing that had occurred there by, I guess, African American parents, and they actually hosted like a hate-free, whatever forum. So there are folks in the community that want to work on this and see that it's important to kind of ensure that Alameda is a welcoming place for all, and especially for children.
Oh, I'm sorry, can we just ask if there's any, because we can actually have more comments after that. But can we see if there's anyone in the audience who, including the present here?
Can I?
Email as well. We do
We'll
not
still-
have
we won't close
any,
it, don't worry.
we do not have any public comment for this item.
Can I ask one last question?
Okay, oh, yeah, no, that's why I just did that, so that we can come back. I just want to make sure they have their opportunity, and then we'll close out the discussion, so yeah, take your time.
Does it, and I don't know who to ask this or if it's appropriate, but in the current political climate with something so explicit in the city, does this jeopardize any of our funding? Or, I don't think so. This feels like a small draft and small, but is this something we do have to think about?
Yes.
I think every city's thinking about it.
I don't think this means we shouldn't do it, but I think I don't know. I'm like.
I'm so upset, to hear about these institutions that are just,
Yeah,
folding or bowing down. It's just, we need to stand up.
yeah,
Yeah, and I know you all agree with that.
It's also important to understand what things actually mean, that race and equity and DEI are not necessarily the same thing.
yes,
It's
yeah,
like saying tissue and Kleenex.
yeah,
One, DEI is more of a specific thing, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so,
I just get nervous.
yeah,
Sure, we all
but there's been a certain lack of nuance going on too, I think,
100%.
yeah.
Again, I wrote down some things when I was sitting there that I wanted to just say, again, what she and I have been doing is really a commitment to equity, inclusion, and justice, but it's not just a symbolic kind of thing. We're not really trying to do this just to be symbolic. And that, I think, is where the biggest concern is that this will become just a symbolic gesture. And I don't think that we're gonna find ourselves very well placed. I know that even using the words like equity and inclusion and justice in today's climate tends to be pins and needles for people because they're afraid. But we've been that way all our lives. And so the idea that somebody else is afraid today, welcome to the party. And so if you're not afraid, then you're not paying attention. And I'm looking to make this, I mean, again, as I said, we're proposing essentially practical, community-informed steps to hold us accountable, ensuring that we have a way to confront the systemic racism. And again, our job here as board members tonight is to have this discussion and to be as candid as we can, because the people who we're going to be passing it on to are going to be as candid as they can. And I know the community that I live in is a very diverse community, but I also know that I'm part of that exception that they talk about and not the rule. And so I'm trying to maintain my realism. The young lady who was here earlier, things that she spoke about, I don't know the people she was discussing specifically, but I know the programs and the problems that she was talking about in terms of getting services and being homeless in Alameda. And there's quite a bit of that rings true. And I know it from personal experience. And so I'm hopeful that we're going to have this move forward so that we can have this type of frank discussion with the people on the city council. I'm hopeful that we can have your support in doing it, because I do believe that being afraid right now is not the right thing to do. And since hatred is not the norm, we need to work on that. That's what I think. If there's questions that I can answer, I thought of somebody when you asked your question about accountability. I thought about that as well, and ways to make it accountable. But again, I don't want to be pressing on any one subject. I just want to say that we bring this up because we want to see real change, not just, yay, we did it. What happened with the last one? Nobody knows. What happened with the one from 1997 or 98? Nobody knows. I don't want to be a nobody knows. I want this to be something that actually makes a difference. And that's all I'm trying to do here.
Thank you for your energy and effort, both of you.
Happy to be of service. Yes.
Can I ask a quick question about what, because I think the action plan, again, I think it's the same thing. Like, we want to make sure there's an action plan, but we also want to make sure that that action plan can be measured so that we know that we are making real progress.
Agreed.
And I think, I have a question about, is there currently data that's available and collected that looks at how services are being provided in the context of, like, in comparison to need? Does that make any sense? Like, is that
The last part in comparison to what?
in comparison to need?
The distribution
The distribution of services in comparison to the needs of the community.
I know
And is
that,
there,
I know that what you're asking is specific. I have done some homework and pulled some information from the exact program that you guys are working on. And a lot of that information is very specific. And I'm happy to provide that to you after the meeting is over. But yeah, you can look at the numbers. The numbers speak for themselves. And as someone who sees them as such, I try not to over dramatize. I'm just trying to be honest. The data is there.
okay, yeah.
So we in HHS, we collect and look at data. I would not say necessarily in terms of this needs assessment that Shrub did, but we do look at the need as far as who we see coming into our system, the demographics that we're seeing, where they're from, all kinds of different points. And we assess the data and look at how we can improve the programs. That's something that we're doing now, since we've gotten our new program manager on, that we're really working on evaluating the programs and making sure they're meeting the outcomes that we're expecting them to meet.
And it is somewhat new because Simone and Camille brought onto our teams like deep expertise using HMIS. So we're able to like create new reports create new reports and like slice and dice and evaluate, so it's a very powerful, useful tool.
And HMIS is the Homeless Management Information
Thank
System.
you. More acronyms.
Is that the one system?
No, it's Clarity,
Okay.
but it's the HUD mandated
Gotcha.
system that we use for homeless services.
Again, my biggest worry is that the problem will be solved by not having any more people of color. As Alameda is losing black people on a regular basis, the numbers bear that out. It seems like it'll be a problem that won't need to be fixed. So hopefully we won't have to see that end of it.
What do you attribute that to?
A lot of it has to do with the structural racism in Alameda. Same things that the young lady was yelling about are exacerbated when you're a person of color, mainly because there are already the lowest numbers that they're looking at. So it becomes a get in line moment. We have a lot of people who are in your position, and they are also people of color. And we have a limited amount of services here in Alameda. And since not everybody gets seen, not everybody goes out and speaks up for themselves, not everybody even knows how to go through the process, they just leave. They just leave.
There's also the cost of housing. Yeah, just the main drivers and jobs, I would say.
I mean, those are
Lack of economic opportunity.
black.
So we're seeing it in all metropolitan areas.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah, thank you everyone for your comments. Do we have anything else to say, or can we move to the next item? Great, let's go to item 4C, the work group report. This item is for board discussion only. If there's no staff presentation, we'll go directly to public comment. Are there any public comments, first of all?
There is no public comment for this item.
Okay, and it just seems to make sense since we just had this conversation. Do you have any other, anything else to add in terms of the Alameda's Against Hate work group?
Only that we're working with as many different community organizations as we can find. We're trying to find parents and organizers from within the community who can have voices that can add to what we're trying to say here. That's our biggest goal, is to get community involvement. One of the things that Doug Biggs talked about was us being a face in the community that people could see. And the only way you can be a face in the community is to have a community to be a face in front of. So we're trying to get ourselves in front of these groups of people so that we can make sure that their voices are heard as part of our responsibility. That's what I have.
Okay, thank you. Bernie, how about domestic violence work group?
So thanks to Gracia for again organizing the task force. We had our semi-annual task force meeting. It was not that well attended, and the only people who attended were two representatives from Building Futures and Alameda Family Services, and of course, you know, us folks. And what was missing was the Alameda Police Department and also Family Violence Law Center. So thanks to Gracie again, we've taken a mulligan and we've scheduled the meeting for April the 4th. I'm sorry, August the 4th. It's an A.
We're having a redo.
Yeah.
And what happened with the police department was that there was a change of personnel in charge, you know, that was our liaison. And previously, Officer Spencer Mountain presented statistics and of basically arrest records related to domestic violence. And there's a new officer, and I don't know if he may have not remembered the meeting, but he heard from Officer Mountain that this was actually very valuable. But one of the things that came up at the meeting, has come up before, is this issue of statistics. It sort of tails on what you were talking about. Because as I reported previously, that the statistics show that in terms of incidence of arrest, which I don't think is necessarily representative of instances of that domestic violence, but it's a measurable thing, that the category of individuals were most likely who had the highest incidence of being victims were Black women, and the category of perpetrators that was the highest were Black men. And what part of the discussion was exactly what to do with this. In other words, they used to have a map where they would show where the arrests were. And they've been hesitant to do that for fear that, you know, it would look like Black people are
what it is.
yeah, exactly. So, you know, it just occurred to me when I was listening to you, that may be something that you guys should think about in terms of, yeah, okay, so in terms of how you integrate that with your, you know, with what you're doing. I think the category with the second highest amount of victims and perpetrators were, you know, Latinos, Latinx, whatever. So, and, you know, why this happens, I mean, I'm not an expert on, but I have a feeling it's more about the family structures and values and attitudes about men and women and other stuff. And I mean, again, we're only talking about arrests that may be different in terms of the stuff I used to deal with, which was civil. So anyway, there's that, and we're hopeful, I think, to have somebody from the fire department maybe this time, if we can get that.
I'm figuring out who the right person is, but yeah.
Okay, and then also somebody maybe from the school district, because when we heard the presentation by Ms. Edwards last time, she expressed interest in being part of this, and I think it would be very helpful given what she's doing. So that's kind of what I have to say.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Next up is Road Home, people experiencing homelessness, and this was your first time presenting.
Oh,
We
Thank-
presented to the Parks and Rec.
Parks and Recs, I did not, thank God for Grecia calling me 5 minutes before we presented, and I was able to get to the presentation on time. So I apologize to my wonderful colleague Scott for leaving you in the lurk. But we had it was a really productive conversation with ARPD. I think it did what we want of kind of highlighting all the great work, and really focused on aligning common missions. I think we're getting a little bit each time the presenting of like what the points we want to emphasize. Did want to update that I spoke previously that we were trying to get a flyer to be part of the 4th of July thing, and that didn't come to fruition. It was both of us. So that did not come in to happen. But from picking up the race, they don't actually give like flyers to and their email doesn't, like, it actually might not be the right venue. In terms of like, they don't hand out, and sometimes when you do races, they like hand you like a bag of stuff, and they don't, they just hand you your bib. But I think the thing to highlight about that is that even in that event, Midway Shelter does talk and speak, and so that is aligning our mission. We just weren't able to be involved in it. But I think we're moving forward on our radar in a couple events and like where we're gonna speak next. And other thing that we're putting our back burner is also to do like awards, a volunteer awards ceremony. That would be small. We just present it at a meeting here and like have an award for people. But I think that's something we could just as a group, maybe at the next meeting, just talk about the categories and how we can do that. I think maybe aiming for like an October award ceremony. So, because I think then once we get into November and December, it's just a mess. So that is the next thing we want to just like highlight and figure out some categories of like how we want to highlight volunteers in that aspect. Am I missing anything else, Scott? Oh, and age-friendly cities. I feel like you can speak more to that.
Oh, yeah, and so at Age Friendly Cities, we have a date at Mastic. And Thank you very much for making this. I like it because it has the whole community, it's not necessarily senior focused, even though there's some older adults in there. We're going to do, it at Mastic on August 13th, at 9 AM. And I'm gonna be working on the slide presentation. Please don't judge me if you happen to go to it, to see it. This will be our first community engagement. I actually was thinking of a couple of things. So this is ready to go out do you think on Monday this could go out to the other commissions so they're aware of it? Or is there a way of doing that? Especially want the Disability Commission and Parks and Rec
Oh, for sure.
know about it for sure.
I email my fellow secretaries.
Okay, thank you. And I'll send this to Morris and let him know. And then what I was thinking, you know, a lot of the framework in this, I was thinking too big city, and we don't need to do that here because of doing this in Oakland. And I realized there's a large population of older adults that are at Dignity Village, and we're gonna meet with them in early August. We could actually organize a meeting the following week and do it there, and I could do one there. So that'd be a great way of reaching a group of people that normally we wouldn't get. And then I know there are some veterans that actually go to Mastic, and so if that's a meaningful enough large group, I can actually talk to them during this and just set something up. Because, you know, kind of, people all know each other a little bit here, you know, it's like that. So I don't think there needs to be anything major and formal. In fact, with those two other groups, I could probably set something up and do it. And I don't need necessarily staff supports on all these either, so I'm not trying to like rope you into a bunch of meetings, but these would be things I could actually do for follow-ups and get the veterans group and you know, people who are experiencing homelessness. So, and then from that, I'll develop a survey. And hopefully when I start developing that, we'll get you to, you know, pitch in and stuff, we can all look at that. And I have a sample one that was actually done in Oakland that I don't think is completely suitable for us, but I'm gonna take some of the things from it, because why reinvent the wheel, you know, when you have some resources, so that's just the next step, yeah?
Use AI too.
Oh, use AI? I'm gonna resist that as long as possible.
I know,
It already happened, it's too late.
I know. Well, according to Grok, no, sorry, that's,
Luddites.
anyway, there's a lot of unreliable AIs out there too. Anyway, that's it.
One more update, speaking of flyers and infographics.
Oh, yeah,
Allie's been working on a couple infographics.
Yeah, I have an
with
email
Michelle's
draft.
direction.
Yeah, I have an email drafted on.
Oh, so I'll probably reach out to you on Monday about a couple of things, Jesse, and also one thing I want to do is 28th, might as well do it. The volunteer list for the next quarter is done too.
Woohoo!
It's actually full 3 pages at this point.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. We got another whole full page with the volunteers based on the last edition. So, yeah, it feels really good to have people take interest in it. All right, so we are now at item 5, staff communications. 5A is a status report on City of Alameda's housing and human services.
So that will be from me. Pull it up. You wanna give your pick?
I just want to share that, in partnership with city manager leadership and the mayor, we submitted a letter to the county also around Measure W in support of those funds going towards homelessness. And specifically around supporting the preservation of existing programs and shelter beds, especially knowing that federal funds we've lost some already and may lose additional federal funds. Allocating funds to the city based on a clear metric that will ensure each city gets an allocation of funding and not just larger cities. And having the county work collaboratively with cities, which it does sound like the county's interested in doing around decision-making and funding priorities. And then also having local priority options. So there are funds that the cities are directly allocating to programs, we have some more leeway to support the residents of the city.
Yay.
Thank you.
Okay, so first update, we're hiring an administrative support specialist to provide administrative, to support, to provide administrative support for the Social Service Human Relations Board and also for the Alameda Collaborative for Children, Youth, and Their Families. We received over 500 applications.
Wow.
And yes, so we will be starting interviews next week
For one position?
for one position.
Wow.
So fingers crossed. We are still accepting applications for the residential rehabilitation programs. We've really upped our outreach with that.
Your social media has been great.
Oh, that's what I hear. I haven't seen it, but our communications manager is great. She's on it.
She is
So
good.
Allie and I were doing paper flyers at the Massac Senior Center. I think it was appropriate for that venue, and we got some interest there as well. Again, it is not just for seniors, but seniors and folks with disabilities are prioritized. An update on the day center relocation, we're finalizing our contract with an outside consultant to project manage the relocation. We are still on track to open mid to late 2026. So that's exciting. On July 9th, the Housing and Human Services Division and the Base Reuse and Economic Development Department teams held a public arts tour for our interns. We toured by van, visiting the many public art installations that we actually have around the island. So if y'all are interested, happy to give you some more information on that. We have a pretty cool public arts commission program happening here. On July 16th, the Housing and Human Services in-house outreach team tabled at the Alameda County Homeless Resource and Job Fair. They reported having the opportunity to interact with hundreds of participants, providing different resource guides and information. One example is that our division has created a resource booklet. They brought 300 and ran out.
Wow.
And finally, I would like to end with a client success story. A long-term unhoused client who is living in a local park moved into Dignity Village this week. Over the last 3 years, many attempts were made to provide services and shelter to this client. Case manager Princess Iriano was able to break through. The client accepted help and is now on a path of stability and healing. Wow. And that concludes my status report on housing and human services. Thank you.
Thank you. So for item 6, do we have any board communications that were not on the agenda?
There's still gonna be the special exhibition.
Gotta make a date.
I was gonna say, we have Tuesdays and Wednesdays, Monday and Tuesdays are the only days that they're not open, so we can schedule some time in. But there's going to be an exhibition at the Oakland Museum called Black Spaces Reclaim and Remain, which Bernie told me about. I'm looking forward to, he and I are gonna go check it out together. I think it's gonna be very cool, so I'm looking forward. Guys are welcome to come in.
Can we come?
Yep. Buy
It's not
tickets.
sunshine?
Nope.
Hey, Friday nights.
Friday nights are a good time to go.
It's free, the
Yeah.
game is free, and then they have
First
food
Friday?
trucks and
Yeah.
That's
music.
right. I'll have to see if I can do it.
You just
Well,
can't
I
talk
can-
about
maybe I
trucks.
can-
Okay, yeah, I was like, can we do?
Maybe we can plan something out for the first Friday or something. Well, first Friday is
Oh,
technically
no,
August
it's
first.
every Friday.
It's every
It's
Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so let's definitely check it out.
It's fun.
Also,
Yeah.
just a delightful community event that people should know about is Sunday is the Alameda Firefighters Pancake Breakfast. That is great pancakes. The mayor's there also. And it's just a wonderful community come together back into our social events. And then the last thing I'm putting out there, I was kind of ho-hum. I really think next year we should be in the parade, the 4th of July parade. I'm putting it out there. Because I think we could be in the early parts, because they have all the city officials
Oh, yeah.
first, so we don't have to wait as long.
I'm sure he's gonna be asking for a convertible, cause you don't wanna walk that distance. It's a long.
No, we're gonna you're gonna have your,
Yeah, you know what, yes, a big stretch convertible would be great.
Something with suicide doors on it, right?
Or we could do-
Yes,
are you
the
thinking
Continental.
Continental, see?
Oh,
Continental
Even
I knew
convertible.
you,
anything, but I think,
at
I
a
think,
certain age, no.
I do think there's something said there that we should, just seeing all the boards, I was like, we should be there, so. I'm letting it put it out there, see that we can do it. And don't you have a fun car?
Yeah, but mine is not a convertible. So it's just me and the
what
Red
is it?
Mustang waving at you from inside of the Mustang.
I feel like we could
Red
we could
Mustang.
behind you or something,
Ride
on
our
our bike.
tiny bikes on the
Yeah, we
side.
could ride bikes. You could be the cool guy, Scott, and you could be in the front.
Shotgun.
One of the things I've learned about 50-year-old cars is they don't like a lot of stop and go traffic,
Yeah, that's one
yeah.
thing.
especially with a station.
I did the parade on a bike once with the bee people in Alameda. We all, you know, dressed like bees and trees and stuff.
Oh, I heard people.
Okay, so one last thing, just kind of a silly thing, but I don't wanna break our rules by asking this individually when the camera's off. If anyone is actually a WNBA fan and wants a little memento about the Valkyries, come see me afterwards. I have an extra of something that I saw them in Las Vegas. And I got something, there's a program there that you can't get here, so.
There's the Asian Heritage Museum, so we can bring that. Mid-August.
Okay, we went to Bucket Hat Night in Las Vegas. All right, so with, any other board communications? Seeing none, we will adjourn the meeting at 8:22 PM.
Hey, are we getting another board member?
Next question.